Hi, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Odyssey Moments Podcast. I'm your host, Rose. If you're listening right now, you likely already follow Odyssey Moments on Instagram or Facebook, so thanks for joining me here. And for those of you who don't know, Adventures in Odyssey is an award-winning, family-friendly radio drama series created by Focus on the Family in 1987. Whew, that is a mouthful. Anyway, it has been on the air for over 30 years and is still being produced and loved by so many, including me, to this day. Some of you may be asking, why a podcast? And my answer to that is, well, because I want to. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time, and so I'm finally just gonna go for it. I can't say I know anything about podcasting or editing. In fact, I actually know very, very little. But that's something I hope to learn as I continue to create. But enough with the chatter. To help kick off the first episode, I asked you guys on Instagram a while ago to ask me questions to answer here on the show. And I'm happy to say you guys did not disappoint. So let's move on to answering some of your questions. What will your podcast be about? Well, the podcast is called Odyssey Moments. So that leaves it up to be a variety of things. But my whole vision for it is and what I'm going to be focusing on for now is more interview based. So that's what you can expect. But I will also probably be doing a variety of other things. It just depends on what I get inspired to do and maybe what you guys want to hear. So you'll just have to see what happens. Are you the only host? Technically, yes. For now, I am the only host, but like I said, it's going to be interview based, so I'll be having other people come on and we'll be able to talk and they can kind of co-host with me. So if that answers your question, I am the only host. What is the very first AIO episode you remember listening to and how old were you? That is a hard question to answer because I really don't remember hearing a first episode. I kind of always knew about Odyssey, but my first recollection of listening to Odyssey, I was probably like 8 or 9. But I'm sure, because I have older siblings, I'm sure I've heard of it long before then. But that was the earliest I remember hearing it. As for which episodes that I remember, I don't remember like only hearing one episode specifically, but I do recall episodes at that age we listened to a lot, which was like Slumber Party, All's Well with Boswell, Connie Comes to Town, just a lot of those old episodes. Oh yeah, and Two Sides to Every Story, A is for Attitude. Those were kind of the first episodes I remember hearing. How long have you loved Odyssey? Well, a really long time. So I remember listening when I was around 8 or 9, but I wasn't obsessed with it and I wasn't listening to it all the time. I was mostly listening to it when my other siblings were listening to it. So I wasn't really like into it at 8. So I was probably, when I got obsessed with it, was around 13 or 14, which is funny because that is just above the target age. So all ages love Odyssey. That's just proof. So I was 13 or 14 when I started listening, so I've probably have loved Odyssey for a good 14 or 15 years, but I mean, since I've kind of always known about it, it's probably been over 20 years. So It's been a long time. Have you listened to every episode? No. And I hate saying that I have not listened to every episode. I'm actually quite behind on Odyssey episodes. I've heard every episode through album 59. So any episode beyond that is what I have not heard. It's terrible, I know, but that's just how it is. And I really haven't been listening at all, just because I don't really have that much time to listen to episodes, because I can't listen to new episodes when I go to bed, like go to sleep, because I will stay awake to hear it. So if I try to fall asleep with an episode, it will be an old one that I already know. I don't know, I just haven't taken the time to really listen to episodes, but I know I really should, because I'm way behind. I think I tallied it to be about, it's like 9 albums behind, and if I'm correct, that means I'm 56 episodes behind, and that's not even including the club episodes, because I am not a member of the club. I've heard the first episodes from the first season of the club, but nothing else, so that's like 140 something episodes of club episodes that I have not heard. So what is one of your favorite episodes? That is a hard question, and I'm sure it's a hard question for a lot of fans, because there is just so many good episodes, and how can you just pick one favorite? Because for me, it kind of changes. I kind of have a list of favorites. So I'll just say some of my favorites that come to mind are, let's see. I know I like Truth, Trivia, and Trina. That's one of my favorite ones. And then naturally I assumed. I do like Connie Comes to Town, Home Sweet Home. I like all the episodes where Bernard and Eugene go on a road trip from, I think it's album 21. Wish You Were Here. There's just so many. Oh, I like Green Eyes and Yellow Tulips. I like Broken Window. I like Snow Day. All the fan favorites. I really like the ones with Jared DeWhite in it. So I like The Buck Starts Here. That one sticks out to me. So, were you homeschooled? Yes. Did you own any Odyssey on cassette tapes? Yes, but technically no. And what I mean by that is we never bought the official Odyssey cassette albums or tapes, but my older brother, would record the show every day when it would air on his own cassette tapes. So we had tons of Odyssey cassette tapes, but they just weren't the official ones. So that was pretty fun, because we would actually save our money to buy cassette tapes so that we could record Odyssey. And he just had stacks and stacks of cassette tapes. Have you cried because of an Odyssey episode? Which one? Well, yes, I have. There were a lot of episodes that make you emotional. Some episodes I did not get emotional the first time I heard it, but then listening to it, maybe even years later, I would. Episodes that come to mind are, I know Home Sweet Home, when Whit comes back. That one was just kind of a tearjerker, because I just love how Connie and Whit's relationship is, and anything that develops that, I really love those episodes. Let's see. I know The Time Has Come, when Eugene becomes a Christian. They did a really good job on that episode. And then, of course, Life Expectancy. That one was very emotional for me, and even though I listened to it way later than all the other people did, all the other fans, and I was trying to stay away from any spoilers, because I knew there was this big thing that was going to happen in the episode, and I was trying to stay away from it. I think I heard that somebody died, but I didn't know who, but I was eventually spoiled before I got to hear it, which I was very, very mad about that, but it still really got to me. Who is your favorite character? Okay, so this question is like asking, what is your favorite episode? There's just so many characters that I really love, so how can I pick just one. You can't. So I have several, and if you want to say who is my ultimate favorite, I guess I'm gonna say Mr. Whitaker, if you want to just pick one, because I mean, he's like the whole show, for me anyway. But other favorite characters are, of course, Connie and Eugene. You can't forget them. I love Bernard, Tom. I really like Robin Jacobs and Jared DeWitt. Those are key favorites. I really like Jack Allen, definitely one of my top favorite characters, just because I feel like I relate to him more, and I just like his soft, gentle nature. So those are some of my favorites that off the top of my head that I really enjoy. Which wit actor is your favorite? Since I grew up listening to Hal Smith and Paul Herlinger, those are my favorite. It's hard to choose between them because I really like them both, but I'm gonna have to say Hal Smith is my favorite, just because he was the first wit. You know, he made that character come to life. He brought everything the writers put into that character and just made it real. And, you know, he set the foundation for who Wit is and how he would be. And so, you know, Hal Smith, I think, is my favorite Wit, just for that reason. But I really love Paul Herlinger and his version of Wit. And then Audrey Starkey would be last on my list. At first, I wasn't really sure about Andre, but he has grown on to me a little bit. I've gotten a little more used to him, but you just can't beat Paul Herlinger and Hal Smith. That's the voice that I remember hearing as a kid. Favorite new character? Well, I'm ashamed to say that it's hard for me to answer this question because I am so behind on the new episodes. I actually hate admitting that. It's very difficult for me. But out of the new characters that I know, which isn't that many because I know there's a lot of new characters in the show now, but the new characters that I know of, I would have to say Pennywise. Opinions on Maury. I don't know who Maury is because I haven't been introduced to him, so I can't give an opinion. Sorry. Matthew and Emily, or Matthew and Susu. Again, I don't know who Susu is, so I can't really give an opinion on that. How do you compare the different eras of Odyssey? That's a good question too. I don't know how I would compare them. They're all very different. We've had a lot of different eras in Odyssey. I think a lot of people focus on the eras between album 50, you know, pre-album 50 and post-album 50. But there's way more eras in Odyssey than just that. You know, we've had pre-Novacom and post-Novacom. Then, you know, they have the eras of when certain kid characters grow up and move on, and we are introduced to new kid characters, new families. And you could say that is a new era, like when they introduced the Washington family. That was a whole new era. So there's so many different eras in Odyssey, and I feel like they are all good in their own way. Did it ever get back to pre-hiatus quality of writing? Well, for me, again, I haven't heard all the latest albums, so it's really hard for me to give an opinion on this. But out of the albums I did hear, the first few albums that I remember hearing, I didn't really like it that much. It just wasn't the same, and I was partial to the old episodes. But as I continued listening, there was some really good episodes in there, like Life Expectancy comes to mind, and the Jubilee Singers. Those were really good episodes. But again, as I continued listening, the episodes and the writing did get better, and you got more acquainted with the new characters, and things became a little more settled. So I can imagine that now with so many other albums that I haven't heard, it probably has gotten even better. Did it get back to pre-hiatus quality of writing? I would say yes. And it's just a different era. People who grew up on the old episodes are always going to be partial to those and are always going to probably love those more. But it doesn't mean you can't love the new episodes too. Connie and Jeff or Connie and Jason? Neither. That's my answer. I've never been a fan of Connie marrying anybody, so Connie and Jeff, I did hear the episode where Jeff comes back, but I wouldn't say Connie should marry him. It doesn't seem like a good fit. Connie and Jason, again, I guess if Connie was to be with any character on the show that is on there now, I would say Jason, just because I like him the best. But my only thing with that is I always pictured Jason being a lot older than Connie, like over 10 years, maybe, 15 years. That's just how I always grew up perceiving it. So for me, it would be a little weird if she was shipped with Jason. So I'm just gonna say neither. Do you agree with the idea that Connie shouldn't change or grow up too much? I don't know how you cannot agree with that because she already has grown so much. I mean, she came to Odyssey when she was 15, and then of course she stayed 16 for years and years. And then she was 18, and you see her graduate high school, and then you see her change and develop and become more mature as a young adult. And then we have the new episodes, which I don't know how old she's supposed to be in these new episodes. I picture her being like 25. Other people picture her being in her 30s. So now you see her as an adult, an independent adult, and even a sister and mother figure. So she has grown and matured so much throughout the show and has changed so much throughout the show, just like Eugene has changed and developed. But if your question is referring to, do I disagree with Connie growing up and getting married, if that's what you mean, I don't think Connie needs to be married in order to feel like she's grown up. I like her being independent and I like her being single, and that's how I find her relatable. If she were to date somebody, I guess I would be okay with that. But really, I like Connie the way she is for right now. Do you think Adventures in Odyssey should have a spin-off series? Do I think they should? I mean, I don't know. I think it would be fun if they did, but I don't think they will. It's been talked about for years whether they should do a spin-off series. Some think they should, and maybe do it for older listeners and have older characters and have more mature themes. And I actually think that would be pretty great to listen to. So I'm not opposed to it, but I really just don't think they would. As an adult, what keeps you interested in and excited about Odyssey? That is a good question. And my answer to that is I'm interested in it because I'm just so attached to it because, I grew up with it. It was one of the only things I was really obsessed with. I loved collecting it. I loved relating to it. I've also made a lot of friends because of it, because of the forums that are online. Most of the friends that I have now are because of Odyssey. So for me, that's what keeps me interested in it. And you could say that what keeps me really interested in it is just the fan community itself. I have built so many friendships and have gotten to know a lot of people through Odyssey. So I would say the fan community really keeps me excited about it. And of course I just so love that they are still creating the show and still creating new episodes for fans. And, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't have my Instagram page and Facebook page. Odyssey Moments would not exist if Odyssey didn't exist. And that's one reason why I wanted to create this podcast, so that I can connect more with you guys and other creative Odyssey fans. That's why I love sharing fan art on my page, because it's something I don't see too much of on other fan sites. And honestly, I'm living for the fan art. So if you have any, please share it with me, because the people, they need more. So anyway, that's what really gets me excited about Odyssey, is just being a part of this community. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode. I really appreciate all who submitted questions. I had tons of fun answering them. And if you have any other questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to send me a message or a voice message, which you can do through anchor.fm. Thank you for listening to the Odyssey Moments Podcast. I hope you tune in next time, and I'll meet you there.